I've actually never been to a taco stand in Highland Park.
Why?
So, I don't know. When I first moved in, I was very eating disordered.
Okay.
Because I was on that trip about, like, I'll just starve myself and be an anorexic, bulimic porn girl, which didn't work. It actually made me more chubby. Because when you
binged,
I was, like, retaining, like... Well, because I was on, like, water pills, and I would take laxatives, and then I would, like, not eat or binge. And so I never really lost weight, and actually made me really swollen in the belly because my salts were all fucked up. Yeah, you're like...
I'm just going to hold all the water here so I look like I'm 4 months pregnant.
Yeah, because my body was like, bitch. Like, we got to hold on to every fucking nutrient. Do you do New Year's resolutions or no?
I do. Well, I'm more of a visionary board girl.
Okay.
So I have vision boards on, like, what I'm planning for the year. Last year was the first year I ever did it, and 90% of the shit on there worked.
I did something similar, and until I got derailed by
life,
the house guest that wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
Who shall not be named, but was in a lot of content. So I got derailed, but up until I did, it was really effective. And so this year I did the same thing, increasing certain activities instead of saying, like, I'm going to go to Edinburgh Fringe, I'm going to do 2 hours of stand-up every day, right? Like, so it kind of shift.
Yeah, so the mindset of that.
Yeah.
For me, it's my journal every day. I write things that I want to happen 10 years from now, as in they're already happening. So one of them is making a high 6-figure income.
Okay.
I write that every morning. I make a high 6-figure income.
That's dope.
And it's just like a cute little thing. I'm like, I'm down for that.
Yeah. So kind of like manifesting.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff. Manifesting, writing it down, visualizing. Like, I have the whole thing. I'm like, I swallowed the pill and I really like it.
This is interesting because it'll be my first time doing tacos in.
I don't understand like that at all. I think that's a foreign language.
I think I for so long food was like this weird kind of exotic, like, what? Like, I eat power bars and desperation. Like, that's, if I look at something, it's gonna make me unlovable.
It's so funny.
If I can just, the thing about body dysmorphia is sometimes it's like it doesn't make sense, but it's like I'll drink or eat something that I think is fattening, and it's almost like I can feel my body expanding in a way that's not realistic. But you know what I mean?
I am the complete opposite. I'm such a body positive person, and I'm like, no, enjoy your body. I've always been so comfortable in my own skin. The idea of not loving every inch of me is just such a foreign concept to me. But I also understand the idea of it being such a habit that it's hard to move past.
I think too, it's like there's elements of when there's suddenly a paycheck attached to it that I say this all the time. I've only ever been paid to be pretty, but it's true. And my friend's like, oh, that's such a flex. And I'm like, no, not really.
No, you are.
Because you're a fully rounded person.
Yes.
But you're only paid for this thing.
Yep.
And that can really do some jujitsu on.
Yep. I'm like, I'm paid to have sex on camera and to look pretty and promote this. This is basically, I think that's going to be your best option.
I know.
Oh my God. Or we have to look good 24/7.
I feel like that's really changing, though, with the popularity of YouTube and Instagram, and where you're starting to see people come up. I mean, of course, the beauty influencers were the first. So you had the Jeffree Stars and the James Charles, where they do look perfect all the time. But I think what has worked to the advantage is in the content mill, where you have to be updating 3 times a week. It has forced even people like Jeffree Star to sometimes appear on camera looking like shit.
Like normal.
Because they have to. And
not shit normal. Normal.
Yeah, because his skin is still flawless anyway.
Exactly.
But I think the awesome thing about that is forced a kind of authenticity onto celebrity. You're kind of an unusual person for an adult.
Why?
Well, you're becoming more common. I think because you started in a niche.
Yes.
So it's like you've always had to be sort of a self-starter and a hustler.
Yep.
You couldn't walk in and just be like,
you can hire me for this.
I'm 18 and blonde and white and 115 pounds and 5'2", and I do everything, and you know what I mean? That girl can walk in and she can work every single day for probably 6 months to 2 years.
Until she wipes out and then goes back home to the middle of nowhere with no money.
Right. But so when you come in a niche, when you come in a little later in life, like I did,
I didn't. I started 18, like the week of my 18th birthday. I was like one of those, like, I know what I want to do. And it's fun because I didn't realize I was different. I'm like, I just want to have sex because I like having sex.
Mm-hmm.
And having sex on camera is fun. And it was always kind of like, let me show the upper. If we look down the street right now, how many people look like me? Typically, we were on that main street. A lot of people look like me. I look like the average girl. Why can't the average girl have sex on camera too?
You're right. Yeah. I mean, when I do stuff with you, like, my video updates with you are probably the most popular next to my stuff with black guys.
Mm.
And I think it's like the same thing, which is like, it's like novelty. It's like people want to see what they don't get to see all the time. Yeah. So you can finish eating while I start to drive us to go get tested if you want. So we're going to go get tested for venereal diseases, you guys.
Together.
So you start when you were 18.
Yeah.
And did you start in, like, did you start out doing your own stuff? Or?
No. I started off being the fat girl you would hire because she had a pretty butt and a cute smile. I did so much shit back then. So many things. I was a dirty bitch. Like,
well, yeah.
Full on dirty bitch. I used to do 40 guy gangbangs because I wanted to.
I've never done a my porn career has been so vanilla. It's like, I haven't even done a boy girl.
Okay. So never double penetration, double anal.
I've never done anal. You're like, you're not even a real porn star.
I know.
I just saw that look in your face, like, do you even do porn?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, does that make you real? It happens. Yeah, you're not even a real porn star.
Sometimes I'm like, how, like, was I even here?
Did you even show up?
So, okay, so you're married, and
I am married.
You have a boyfriend.
I have 2 boyfriends and I'm married.
So, how long have you been married?
For 13 years.
So, since you got in?
Yes. We've been together since I was 17, so yes.
Okay, so you were together before...
Yes. Yes.
So you guys were together before you got in?
Yes.
But you hadn't been together long?
No. About 6 months.
Okay, and then did you marry... You've been together 13 years, or you've been married for 13 years?
We've been married 13 years.
So you guys had a very short courtship then?
About 2 years, 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you married when you were 17, or you met?
No. I met him when I was 17.
Met in 17, so, and then married him by like 19?
20.
Okay.
19, 20, yeah.
And he's not in the industry at all?
He has a normal job.
And how did you guys meet? High school or?
Somebody introduced us together when we were in college.
Okay.
So we had a mutual friend.
Okay. And were you already sexually kinky?
Yes.
I guess what other people would call kinky.
Yeah, I'm like, I've always been very open and very me. I've always known who I am and what I am. I think we go that way and up.
Yeah. And so were you guys open right away? Like, were you guys swingers? Were you guys open?
I think he just knew that what I wanted to do, and he was always supportive of that.
Okay.
So it was like, this is what's going to happen. As soon as I turn 18, I'm going to do porn. Are you okay with this? Yes, I am. Then we can stay together.
Okay. So you were like, I'm doing this.
Oh, yeah. I've always known I wanted to do this. At a very young age. Almost an inappropriately young age.
Do you remember, who was your first, like, porn crush? Do you remember the first porn scene you saw where you were like, I want to be that girl?
No.
Or I want to be fucked like that?
No. I've never watched porn. I don't think I watched porn until I was 24.
I found a stash, and gosh, I think the first scene I ever watched was Belladonna.
Ooh.
And I just like fell in love. I was like, who is this?
Who's this creature?
She just did not look like the typical porn girl. She had real boobs.
Yep.
She had tattoos.
Yep.
Which was not mainstream yet.
Which still isn't kind of considered. They're still considered.
Yeah, that's still like a
with a
niche.
tattoo. Yeah.
And like, there was also just like she had the gap in her teeth, and like to me, I think Belladonna to me has always been one of the prettiest people to have ever done adult.
It's funny. I have a few friends that have her tattooed on them.
Right. And I remember the first convention that I went to, the first AVN I did, was in January of 2012. I'd been in for maybe a few months.
Yeah.
And I was like the exclusive girl for this. I was the contract girl for this company called Girl Candy Films out of AEBN, which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
AEBN still exists, but the imprint doesn't.
Yes.
But so I had like a banner and all this. It was a very like coming in and having all that just like
I'm
right
here.
away.
Yes.
And my booth was next to hers.
Ooh.
And I remember watching, there was just a line around the convention hall just for her. And I watched her. She had a shaved head at the time. And I watched her just spend like 10, 15 minutes with each and every
That's so
fan.
nice.
Just talking with them, taking pictures with them, signing things, listening to them. And it was a lesson to me, and just that to me was a porn star.
I'm like, that one makes the people wait in line because they want that time with you. Okay.
Yeah, but it also just that she seemed very happy and whole.
Okay.
And that was the kind of sex performer I wanted to be. Just that energy that was very holistic.
Okay.
You know, like they're just.
Holistic.
It just seemed very genuine.
Yeah.
You know, I've never tried to be an activist in my porn per se.
Yeah.
But
you have too, though.
Yeah. But I've always wanted to be genuine and authentic and to present sort of, to make the sex as real as possible.
Except for anal. Yes.
So you marry your husband, and then at what point do you guys start opening it up and having those kinds of discussions of like...
We've always been open because my mom's open. My mom has always had multiple partners. So it's been a thing in my life.
Okay.
Always. So it was never a discussion
dope.
of this is what's happening. It's always like, this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sexually...
Do we all have sex together? No.
Well, no. Like, so you're polyamorous,
Yes.
not... Okay. And so, how do you figure out time? Do you have like a schedule where like weekends are your husband's always? Or do you have like things like standing dates?
No. It's more flexible.
Okay.
So each of us have weird schedules, so it depends on what's kind of happening. My husband works nights right now, so I'm typically at Mo's house at night. When the other one's in town, we all gather together and have fun, and it's we can go watch a movie or go to a Lego convention because that's what Mo's into. So there's so many options.
Right.
We're like all a big happy family. We go out to dinner with my family and everything like that, so everybody knows everything. There's no secrets in my life.
We are back out on the road.
Yes, we're driving. We got tested.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done on camera?
I don't know what you consider crazy, but I used to do like 40 girl bukkake scenes, and I've been suspended, and I've been forced orgasm to the point of passing out. There's options.
What was the favorite scene you've ever done?
This is the thing. I think everything's my favorite. I don't have one that's like, oh my god, that's the one. I want to say the most memorable because it changed a lot of what's happening in my life was Weight of Infidelity with Angela White, and for Pure Taboo and Brie.
So how did that come about? Because that was kind of like a big...
That was a big thing. Angela wrote the script or the outline of it, and then between her and Brie, they came up with everything, and I was cast in, and it was one of those things that they didn't know if I was the right choice. Angela wanted me, but the company didn't know because they've never done anything like that before, so they're like, how's this gonna play out? And Angela stuck with it, and Brie stuck with it, and then the Canadian people were like, okay, and it broke the internet for them. The site crashed when it launched.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because there was a huge PR push for that. Was that Gamma or was that Angela?
That was everybody. I think once we saw what we created, it was very much, this is amazing. This needs to be seen by everybody because we don't know if it's porn. I don't know if that's porn. Right. I know you can get off on it, but I think the story is so fucked up that you don't know if that's something. Is it porn? Or is it a movie that has sex in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I wrote my treatment for Pure Taboo, I was like, I want to create something that's like another moment like that.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's like if we can do it right, I think it'll be like a really kind of powerful.
From what you told me, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the concept. I love the idea. I love the emotion behind it.
Yeah. And I think it's like I've always been, to me, like the erotic is kind of that. In a character that's very controlled by her husband, I wanted to highlight that there's a certain level of eroticism to that, like to suffering, like of some like, and the character I wrote is suffering, but that there is that suffering is very sexualized. It is high, like there's a part of her that doesn't ever want to be enough.
Yeah,
you know, there's a part of her that wants to always be falling short.
Yep. And
always being punished.
Yep.
You know, because it's serving some sort of purpose for her. You know, also I just think in like, I wanted to do something that was dealing with gender stuff, because there's a lot of tension between cis women and trans women when it comes to activism, because you know, there's this whole segment of women that feel like trans women are trying to come in and sort of take their spaces and whatnot, and I wanted to do something where it's like, let's have a trans woman and a cis woman beating each other up, like, and let's just be very plain about it.
Yeah.
Like, let's create that visual, because that's so much of what's going on.
It so is. And
is around this kind of like, you're a woman, no, I'm a real woman, no, I'm a woman, no, you know what I mean? Like this kind of tug of war between like who's claiming what, you know? And so that's why I was like, I want to do Pure Taboo, but I want to use a trans performer, and like, I want the real dynamic tension and the complicated relationship to be between the trans women, the two women, you know?
Yes.
That are both like struggling to, like, you know, she can't get pregnant and she's trans, so it's like they're kind of in this weird space where it's like they're trying to establish their female identity by any means necessary, and they're both being constantly frustrated by,
and it's hard because I'm like, it's so funny because I'm very much in the mindset of like, we should, sexuality and how you identify is so liquid.
I mean, it really just comes down to empathy, and ability to empathize, and to also just to step out of the bubble of social media, which is like, do you think people should be in transition when they're 13 or 14? My answer is, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not trans. I'm not the parent of a trans child. None of these things are my business, and I'm completely unqualified to answer that question. You know, and I feel like if people were more like, took more time to step back and ask themselves, is my input necessary? Is it relevant? Is it kind? Do you know, is it going
to make a difference? Is anybody, does it even,
you know, because I feel like so much of this is much ado about nothing. It's just getting very caught up in stuff that is never going to affect you and never was going to affect you.
But you feel like you have to have input on everything nowadays.
Yeah, and so when people are like, well, them coming in spaces, like, listen, if a man wants to sexually assault women by going in the bathroom, like, he can put on a costume today. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I was like, there's no, like, men already do that. If men want to go into female-only spaces and have sex and sexually assault women, they already do that. It's not like, oh, well, there's a law, so now as long as I'm wearing a skirt. It's like, no, if they could wear a skirt to get into the bathroom before, like, they would do it now. It's not like a law is going to make them go like, oh, I've never thought of that before. No. And also, I thought there's no correlation that shows that trans women are more likely to be sexual predators than cis women. I haven't seen any studies showing that there's a higher incidence.
Neither have I.
Like, we're like, well, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure there are trans women that are sexual predators. There are also cis women that are sexual predators. But I would bet you that those numbers are probably about the same. Very fucking low.
I go with yes, but I think we just like to point our fingers to, they're different. They must be weird. No, they're not different. We're just not, we haven't grown up with the idea that we've grown up with girls are girls and boys are boys, pink, blue. I'm like, there's never been pink and blue. Historically, there's always been more. Fucking books about sexuality, there's never just been two.
Oh, I know. when I was doing research I'm a history buff, and there was this guy, René Laudonnière, who between 1563 and 1562 to 1565, or maybe it was 1565 to 1568. I forget the exact. But was part of 3 missions that came over to try to. Florida was always like the most inhospitable colony.
Yeah.
And Pascua, Florida is what it was originally. And so the French realized the Spanish weren't colonizing it because the Ace Indians that were along the coast, and the Miami Indians were like very hostile and cannibals and like very aggressive, which was they're not the kind of native they were used to encountering. Because the Taino people were like very kind of submissive and peaceful. Yeah. And Florida and those places, they were fucking aggressive.
I go with, is that where the jokes from Florida started?
Probably all, and let's throw down to Florida.
Yeah.
Florida man. Well, no, because I think that Florida was probably populated by tribes coming from the Amazon.
Okay.
And so that's like the tattooing there and the tattooing deep in the Amazon, and the natives along the Amazon are much more aggressive. They're not.
I go, but they're warring. Trying to eat them.
Yeah, because they're much more. They're like a warring tribal thing, whereas as opposed to being agrarian farmers, right? So France, these French Huguenots that were trying to escape France and England, the Catholic Wars and all this stuff, came over and tried to settle, and so they founded Fort Caroline, which is now Jacksonville, Florida, before St. Augustine was founded. And so there were 3 journeys that this guy took, and the French tended to kind of go in and try to sort of assimilate more. Okay. Like their sort of style of colonization was much more enmeshed, and ensconced. Yeah. And so René Laudonnière like went on 3 different journeys where he would go stay with the Timucua Indians for long periods of time. Okay. But he wrote about the hermaphrodites. This is in 1565. So like the hermaphrodites, he didn't call them men that dress like women. He said they're like hermaphrodites. They're tall and they're masculine, but they dress like women, and during times of war and things like that, they're like the medicine people. They go out and give water to the wounded and do this and that. And many times he's talking about these encounters, like encountering a hermaphrodite on the road and negotiating for water or for alligator meat and stuff like that. So I mean, as soon as people were exploring the new world, they were documenting this kind of stuff. When people say history or science or whatever is racist, I think the word racist has become problematic, and I think what should probably be replaced at this point to biased.
Yes. I like
because
that
I think that's something that makes people less defensive.
Yes.
And instead of going like science is racist, going like science suffers from a lot of racial biases and gender biases. Yeah.
Computers are going to take over the world.
They really are. But I mean, the good news though is that they are highly disruptible.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So
you can unplug them.
Yeah. And my ex was in quantum computer building.
All right, I'm going to do the same thing as you right now.
And cybersecurity. So she taught me a lot about how stupid artificial intelligence is. Okay. Which is, she's like, all of it's highly disruptible, and you can outthink any computer because it doesn't know how to learn. And it only knows how to learn based on what you've taught it. Okay. So whatever paradigms you've input, like that's all it has to work off of. It's never going to come up with new paradigms for understanding the world. So the epistemology going on there is like never going to change. Like if you say water is wet, gravity is this, like it's never going to like freestyle. Okay. You know what I mean? Like those paradigms, like how it comes to understand information and interpret it, you're setting up the parameters. So if you say ghosts are real, like that is, it's going to interpret everything with that, like whatever paradigm you put there, like that is stuck. There's Maggie McNeil's she has a blog called The Honest Courtesan. Okay. She's a big advocate and just really aggressive and kind of pointed in her commentary. And she's been saying for like the last couple of years, she's like, the war on drugs has become incredibly unpopular. And she said this a couple of years ago, and she's like, watch, the war on drugs, as things start getting legalized, the war on drugs is going to be replaced by a war on whores. And because they're going to replace one moral panic with another,
Yes.
to justify the existence of the state apparatus
Yeah.
that has become so enormous in fighting the drug war. It's allowed all kinds of surveillance, all kinds of RICO laws, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now that drugs are legal and they're going to be letting people out of prisons, they're going to be looking to demonstrate the necessity of their existence
Yeah.
by creating a moral panic around sex trafficking and then launching a war on whores, and we are watching it happen.
Exactly.
If we're talking about like adult sex workers, the number being trafficked or coerced is somewhere around 2%. So it's like, it's not to say that the problem doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's just that the reality is that sex work is a highly competitive job market.
Yes.
That offers an amazing return on hours.
Yep.
And for a lot of women,
Flexibility.
especially in a depressed economy, it allows you to spend time with your children if you need to take care of them. It's like maximum time with your children, maximum money. So you don't have to spend all this money on daycare while you're going to work every day.
Exactly.
You know, if you're only on set 4 days a month, or if you're only working like one client a night 5 days a week, you know, it's a lot easier to find an hour to get away and see a client
than 8 hours at a place that pays you less than $15 an hour.
Yeah. And so it's this, I feel, as much as we're making headway, this is the next war on drugs. I absolutely agree with her that this is the next war on drugs.
That like blows my mind a little.
So when did you lose your virginity?
I was 16.
Okay.
And then I didn't have sex for about a year and a half. And then I had sex with everybody.
Okay. So how were you meeting people that were hooking up with?
I had a thing for virgins.
Okay.
I fucked so many virgins. Because I was young. And
if you were a man, like I'd have to edit this whole part out. I'd be like, nope.
I just took her virginity. Nope.
Editing this out.
So as a woman, I have that privilege. I can say, yes, I found virgin men and I had sex with them. And only once because I wanted the V card. Isn't that different? Isn't that awesome? Like as a woman, you get some power. But you're right. If I was a guy saying that, you're like, you slept with these women. And
people would be like, he's a fucking monster.
Yes.
Carl sucks.
I know. Why would he do this to these girls? They just wanted to be loved. I had a thing for guys, and it was like I wanted to be the first, and I wanted their first time to be amazing, like mind-boggling amazing. Because then,
well, see, that's sweet. That's just a public service.
No, it was more a conceited thing. Then anybody they slept with after would have to live up to that. So I would pull out all the tricks.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I would be like,
just ruining them.
Yes.
God.
I know.
Just ruining them, like making that next bitch work so fucking hard.
Exactly.
Exactly. But that's the kind of petty shit I would do too. Though. I don't plan on getting old.
Okay.
I feel like I'm.
Do you have an out age?
Probably like 60.
Okay.
I feel like if cancer doesn't get me by then, from like all of my horrible
lifestyles.
Choices,
okay, there you go.
I feel like it will probably be like death by misadventure. Do you know what I mean?
Are you falling off a cliff?
Probably.
Okay.
I just feel like I'm the kind of person that takes those kinds of risks. So it's not, I don't have a death wish, but I've always felt like, I'll be 60 trying to climb Mount Everest, and then they're gonna be like, she disappeared, and everyone's gonna go like, well, no shit, she was 60 on Mount Everest. Exactly. I think I know where she is.
Yeah, I know. We all know what happened.